Oh, finally, we're at the end of Corpse Body Blood Drive. Hopefully, you guys do enjoy this. If you do, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. And let's get it. Chapter 10. Reparations. Aiko and I progress through the heavenly host, guided by the whims of the book, the school changing and shifting around us bit by bit. We were now faced with a particularly marked door. Yes, let's go, baby. Ooh, panty time. And out we go. This is too quiet right now. Maybe I should take this opportunity to ask a few questions.
Aiko-san, Kuon sensei wa anata no onei-san datta no ne? ええ。私たち天神賞機関組は実はあの人のことをよく知らないの。記憶がないというか。担任なのに？ええ。ねえ、クオン先生のこと教えて。どういう人なの？あの人は完璧な人よ。天才という言葉では収まらない。すべての理想という言葉が人間の形をしている存在。理想？まず11歳の時の著書が世界的ベストセラーになったのを皮切りに。
What? Only 11?
文学界だけでなく科学、数学、芸能、経営、経済と数々の分野において研究や発表、マネジメントで大成功を収めているわ。
Goodness.
公益財団法人 PL 振興社が一代の社長であそこまで成長しているのもあの人の力。
So Satoshi definitely missed out on the perfect lady, you know what I'm saying?
私の家、庭家はあの人の印税で一生かかっても使い切れないほどの財を得ている。けれど、そのせいで家族の絆は完全に断絶した。両親は子育ても働くのも放棄して、姉のお金で海外で遊び回っていて帰ってこないしね。そうなんだ。愛子さんはお姉さんのこと好きなの？あの人は私を大好きみたいだけれど、私は大嫌いよ。昔から全部私の前にレールを敷いてしまうから。私には選ぶ権利も与えられなかった。
Once when she and I were out for at the shopping mall, looking to buy new underwear, there was an incident while I was trying a new bra.
私、これが好き。このブラがいいかな。
She just stuck her head into the dressing room through the curtain.
あら。
And then, as if that weren't bad enough, she came right in it. On it.
ダメよ。愛ちゃんいい？体に合ったものを身につけないと、せっかくのスタイルが崩れてしまうの。まだ若いからといって油断してると、年齢を重ねていった時に必ず足かせになる。油断大敵という言葉があるけど、まさに今この時よ。こっちにしなさいね。
As she left the dressing room for only a moment, but now handed me a luxurious, elegant, lacy bra from the gap between the curtains. I complained, but I knew I'd eventually have to try it on anyway, so I just broke down and did it.
ほら、やっぱり似合うわ。お姉ちゃんが買ってあげる。愛ちゃんは本当に可愛い。 全部お姉ちゃんの言う通りにしなさいね。愛ちゃんはとってもいい子だからわかるよね。ね。
Kun's smile was so pure and sweet, it was almost scary.
衣食住も親の愛情もすべて姉ありき。私の居場所を全部奪ってしまう。姉のせいで自分のない人生がもう何もかも嫌になって自暴自棄になりかけた時、私はレーグと出会い、魅せられオカルトに傾倒していった。霊力という姉にはない力を持っていることに興奮して体が震えたわ。これは私が見つけた力、私だけの世界。レーグオークションでの売り上げは具体的な数値となって私を高揚させた。なのにあの人はこの世界にまで踏み込んできてあっさりと私の先に立つのよ。忌々しいわ。
そうだったんだ。なんかすごい人なんだね。
まあ本当のところあの人のことは私もよく分かっていない気がする。行き過ぎた正義は悪になる。純粋すぎる悪は人を救済してしまう。世の中をよく見てみて。そうでしょ。一番正しいのは全ての答えではないのよ。きっとね。
Is that a save point, bro? Don't mind if I do. Another one?
地鳴りがひどいわね。
校舎が崩壊に向かっているのかも。
まさかあの7番目の柱が。
目覚めだ。
Who there?
本だわ。ブックオブシャドウズが喋ってる。
涅槃が目を覚ました。
涅槃、コアのこと。魔女の魂が。
我々の接近を感じている。柱も涅槃に反応している。
The sound of a monstrous explosion rang out, accompanied by a violent quake that rocked the very foundation of the school. This earthquake had bigger and unfortunate side effect. The whole connection to the underground passage has been completely sealed off. This meant that Mishida and the others would have no choice to find another way out. Where are we? Which part of the heavenly host is this? That's a very good question. Maybe I would be best if we stopped trying to put everything in context of the old heavenly host. Every way, the choices we've made, we've got this to climb these stairs. So let's get moving. We managed to escape through the hole before it collapsed and went our way through the numerous passage, finally arriving at the base of the new enormous bell tower. As soon as we got there, however, there was another huge explosion. The whole school rocked beneath our feet. I was certain the class rep and Aiko must have felt the blast as well, and could only hope beyond hope that they were both alright. Monstrous explosions continued to echo through the bell tower repeatedly, and violent tremors shook us again and again, seemingly without end.
なんだ
7番目の柱が光ってる。
The separate of knowledge was indeed lit up, spewing its disquieting green flames every which way.
篠崎さん、
行ってみよう。ナオミ、背負ってる。急ぐぞ。
So now we're carrying Naomi and Yuki. Where's Yuki? Or Yuka? It's Yuki. It's Yuki Suzuki. That's dating Mitsubishi. Who's Toshiba's girlfriend. And Toyota's mother. What the heck? And they're all living a Nissan together. You understand what I'm saying?
遅かったわね。
The separate of knowledge wasn't the only thing we found at the top of the tower. There awaiting for us was the landing. The landing was Magari holding Satoshi by the neck.
お前
She let go of Satsuki, who trembled to the ground like a rag doll.
さつきちゃん、生きてるよ。死にかけてたから連れてきた。愛子も歩みも涅槃の中心へ行ったわ。
なんだって。
人知の及ばない世界よ。見なさい。知識のセフィラが涅槃の目覚めに反応している。この校舎はもう数分のうちに壊れるわ。すぐに幸せの石で帰った方が身のためよ。あなたはどうするの？幸に壊された。
Megari flashed a bitter smile and showed off the rubble that was once a pair of ever after stones. She seemed almost proud of what she'd been through. Miss Kuan then produced her custom-made PL promotion stones, which had also seen better days. They were full of cracks and a strange blue gas seeping out here and there.
こちらもなの。霊力がたまるどころかどんどん抜けていく。
マジかよ。クオン先生。
どのみちみんな死ぬ運命だったみたいね。参ったな。バルド心配してるかな。
Who the heck's Waldo? Marguerite scratched her head and looked for all the world like she'd resigned herself to her fate. It was a sight entirely unlike her. There wasn't anything we can do at this point but to stand there and helplessly watch the pillar pulsate, knowing that it could blow at any moment. And it was then we'd all resigned ourselves to our fates, as Magari had. That's Miss Kuan suddenly looked down at her wristwatch and spoke.
サトシ君、
はい。
君の世界にいた私は い先生だった？
え？
中島さんが言ってたっけ？確かゆい先生？
はい。君の世界ってなんでそのこと知ってんだよ。
ミスト君も言っていたでしょ。オーラの色でわかるの。あなたたちは違う過去に存在していた人。
確かにゆい先生は面白くてドジで最高の先生だよ。でもクオン先生だってゆい先生と同じくらい優しくて楽しくてさ。
私も先生のこと大好き。
I was still straddling Satoshi's back and could barely form a coherent sentence, but I somehow knew if I were ever to say it, that would be the time.
ありがとう。
Miss Cohen smiled brightly.
後悔もいっぱいあったけど、今の言葉で救われたかな。
天才と呼ばれたあんたでもそう思うのね。
計算の技能が早いのといろんな知識が豊富だったのは単に私が異常な脳をしているだけよ。天才とかそんなのじゃない。こんな寿命まで見えてしまう人生にあなたは魅力を感じる
Miss Cohen turned to her wristwatch so everyone could see it. The counter displayed the number 300. And it was counting down second by second.
その時計。
寿命時計。最後の1秒まで無駄にしたくなくってね。
Life clock, a device capable of reading and displaying one's own lifespan. By the way, if something like that ever exists, would you guys actually buy something then? Would that be something you'd be interested in? Imagine, dude. Ordinarily, I would put any stock in the accuracy of such a ridiculous sounding contraption. But this was Miss Cohen we were talking about. Thinking back to everything she'd accomplished in the short time we knew her, and all the technologies she'd devised through PL, I couldn't help but believe every word she said. No matter how preposterous those words may have been, nor how much I wished them to be fabrications.
周囲に求められるがままに能力を使って命を削り続けてきたあなたは、肉体年齢は90を超えて寿命が近いって聞いてはいたけど、あの噂は本当だったみたいね。
Miss Cohen smiled and slowly walked to the pillar.
私がこの柱を破壊するわ。みんな下がって。
She had the other baby teeth from Sachi in her other hand.
あの子の霊力があればできる。計算上だけど間違いないはずよ。
クオン先生。
私がいなくなってもあなたたちの人生は続くよ。どんな困難にも負けないで。
先生。
みんな元気でね。やだ。
I screamed and I cried. I lashed out. This wasn't right. This shouldn't have been the end for her.
中島さん、サトシくんちの温泉は体も心も癒してくれるわ。またゆかちゃんと一緒に入るといいわね。あ、岸沼くんは小テストちゃんと受けること、山崎先生に話してあるからね。
あ
やだもう二人とも泣かないで、男の子でしょ。早く、もう時間がないわ。柱も私も。
Still on Satoshi's back, as he descended the stairs, I screamed. There had to be another way. There had to be. Megari was the only one left who hadn't said anything yet.
忘れないでおくわ。あんたっていう天才を。マルトゥバは心霊医療から手を引く。
約束してね。
愛子は私が守ってあげる。
And with that, Marguerite followed us down the stairs away from the pillar. Once Miss Kuan had confirmed we were all out of range, she pressed her hand and Sachi's tooth upon the monolith. She suddenly began to breathe heavier, as if she were running out of air. Her years were physically catching up to her. All at once, she began to feel as old as her body appeared. She looked down at her watch. There was only 20 seconds left. With nothing left to hold them back, the tears began to stream down Miss Kuhn's face. The counter was down to 10. Miss Kuhn's arm began to fuse with the pillar, as if she were being pulled in.
そう思える。なんて幸せなんだろう。
The upper portion of the bell tower lit up, and the blinding flash and exploded with a tremendous force. The entire school shook harder than ever. Each of us was blown clean off the stairs and knocked unconscious in the process. A piece of heavenly host blew out, leaving an enormous crater in its wake. A dimension of empty expanse. Expanse? Yeah. Bright and white. A world without a single sound. There I stood, dumbfounded. I couldn't speak. Where am I? Is this I wanted to say?
先生。
出会えたことがもう奇跡なんだよ。死ぬのは怖くないって思って見ていた私の時計。寿命が来れば消えればいい。それまでただやることをやる。 って考えて生きてきたの。あなたに出会って、生まれて初めて恋をして、生きたいって思った時、時計のカウントが減らなくなった。恋っていいね。別の世界から来たあなたは、私と出会った最初の日のこと、きっと知らないだろうけど。元の世界に戻ったら、また違う先生が君と出会うのかな。ちょっと悔しいけど、私じゃない先生によろしくね。バイバイ。
先生
Enough. My face was coated in tears and snot. I stood up, arm outstretched. But there was nothing I could do. She was gone.
ここ
You are ye.
大丈夫、あゆみちゃん。
すごい地震だったわね。急がないと。
Yes, we have to hurry to the save point. Am I right or am I right, dude? Goodness. What? What? That eye is moving on us, dude. And another one. We're dead. Yep. Yep. We are so dead. We are so dead. It's game over, man. And another one. There we go. And another one. There was a single white door in the back of the crystal fulcrum, along with the enormous red standing cross. The walls were lined with crucified corpses that looked like a Martuba investigation team sent in before us.
この先だ。
The Book of Shadows spoke once again.
いよいよね。
愛子さん、お願い、もう引き返して。
くどいわよ。
お願い。足手まといになるかもしれないから言ってるの。あなたが。
Aiko was at a loss for words.
ごめんなさい。
I draped my head and apologized. All of a sudden, outburst. I'd intend to be looking out for Aiko, manufacturing an excuse to keep her out of harm's way, but it came across harshly. It worked, however. Aiko hung back, and I stepped through the door on my own. but I'm Batman. Inside was another realm, entirely one in which heaven and earth alike sat in ruins. The sky was a twisted coil in red and black, and the ground, or what was left of it, was little more than a black mass. The floorboards from the school stretched before me, covering a shiny staircase leading up to the unknown. And high above all else loomed a conspicuous object, shining brightest of all.
あれが涅槃。
白だけ
On the other mass of the floorboards below me were everyone. Yuka and Satsuki were here too, though I thought they were both clearly unconscious.
篠崎大丈夫かなんだよこれ
I cracked a slight smile at Mashida's panicked reaction.
みんなどうか生き残って。私決着をつけてくる。
篠崎お前まさか
その先は本あなたしか行けないわね。死ぬんじゃないわよ。
My mind was made up. I was going to do this no matter what. I looked for my first step up the staircase.
おい待てよ篠崎篠崎
委員長。
Nakashima addressed me with much effort, as she still seemed to be in tremendous pain. It was, admittedly, some comfort to receive so much support from my friends. The stairs faded away behind me, quite literally, each one vanishing as soon as I stepped off it, actively rejecting the notion of anyone but the bearer of the book could be here. I continued to climb until I hit the top, which left me right at the foot-shining object of the sky.
ここから上は。
The last step disappeared, leaving me floating in midair. I collapsed my arms around the Book of Shadows.
しっかりしろ体勢を戻せ
I tucked the book under my arm and started leveling myself out a bit. Almost immediately, my vision began to blur. It looked like the world around me was melting. It took me a moment to realize that it was actually motion blur due to extreme rate of speed at which I was flying. The shining object was getting closer and closer.
怖いけど負けないわ。今までいっぱい悩んで逃げて後悔してきた。関係ないって自分の殻に逃げ込む癖がついていた。けど道はこっちにはないって気づいたんだから、覚悟したんだから。見ててお姉ちゃん、目は閉じない。あ、痛い。何なの？
The following events all happened in rapid succession. The runic letters on my thigh from the blowback of Yoshi Shinozaki's estate began glowing red, as spurring blood. I was observing and confirming this. 4 small blue lights were sprawled to me like moths to a flame. Once they got within arm length, they stopped moving and just hovered. I had a feeling I already knew the answer. These 4 lights were giving off a gentle, caring, friendly glow. They were the purest and strongest lights I'd encountered here. It felt more reassured than ever just by looking at them. In my mind, I could understand them without even the need for words. Their aura was as inviting as it could be. I began to cry. This was no time to lament or mourn, though the runic letters on my arm now began glowing red and spurting blood, just as the ones in my thigh had moments before. The Book of Shadows spoke again.
ここで死ぬようでは俺を使う資格はない。俺を紐解き邪術を使いこなせ。
Okay, when Nirvana addresses you with Foothark, you need to answer back by pressing a quick time event and use the Foothark lettering of your own as an indicator. Okay. A, B, C. A, B, C. Okay. Clearly, I'm not understanding what to do. Typical. I mean, what more do you expect from a indie developer team? So after a ton of research, not gonna lie, I finally managed to find a Excel sheet. So they're saying here it's a question and answer, like how it works. If you want to know the documents as a discipline or explain, you can use the frequently asked questions sections to read the answers, what they mean. So it's a question and answer in a different language that you can't really... Dude, it's stuff like this you can't make up, dude. Like, you can't make shit like this up. You can't. So the enemy is asking a question, and then you have to just give the answer. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. But you don't understand the question, and you don't even understand the answer. Okay. CM, so SM square. Okay, got that one. Smallest one, triangle. Longest one, RM, so X. And S is R again. I don't know which one it is. My bad. I'm gonna guess here. Oh, maybe it was that one that started with X. So this is the smallest one, so square. CM is S, that one. Triangle? No, it was X. It was the one on the right. The right one was the right answer. SC, X. So, there we go. It's game over, beach. I woke to a white expanse stretched out before me and realized I was in midair. It almost seemed like I was above the clouds looking down on the world below. Finally, the light from the Book of Shadows faded. Its power spent. I immediately lost my balance and fell through the sea of clouds, landing with a thumb. Before me, I saw a young blonde girl sitting in the nude. The entire area was blindly bright, though that I couldn't make out who she was. The clouds clung to the ground, even here, giving my surroundings their unearthly glow, pure white, as if this were the aftermath of a bazaar. I could make out new details the longer I focused, and now noticed that the girl before me had almost translucent blue eyes with no eyebrows. She was gazing fixedly at me. I could only think of this being as someone who existed beyond all human knowledge. I addressed her with a fearful break in my voice, but she just continued staring at me in total silence. I raised the Book of Shadows, but the girl's expression did not change.
Foul belief. Intellectus potest.
The girl spoke, but I didn't understand what she was saying. Sounds Russian to me. Come here, girl. The girl stood and began approaching me. I tried to take a step back, but tripped and fell. This is when I first noticed my surroundings. The clouds had receded a bit, revealing no snow broth, but a thick forest of half-dead trees. The girl approached me slowly, one step at a time, in an almost rhythm manner. Her mouth opened wide. What the? And a large branch popped out from the back of her throat. Suddenly, she was crucified directly in front of me. Blood splattered everywhere. I was completely drenched. I screamed and tried to move back. My legs had given out. Meanwhile, the Book of Shadows lay on the ground. It was the furthest thing from my mind at that moment. Then, from behind, this skewered girl, I caught a sight of another girl who looked just like her flaming body hanging from the tree. It swung very slightly in place, creaking and groaning with each revolution.
Ego soffocare colum paesanisam!
Ego corpus lo cerabunt.
Ego corpus la celabunt.
I could hear accusatory yells in some foreign language coming from hysterical men and women in the forest. I shifted my focus. The burning, hanged girl on the tree back to the girl in front of me, and she too was now completely burned. She continued walking toward me, little by little, step by painful, deliberate step. And then she finally reached me. She put her hands around my neck and began to choke me. Thinking quickly, lower, I grabbed the girl's arm and I pulled her and gave her the biggest hug I could master.
言葉はわからないけど伝わってくるわ。虐殺された命の悲鳴。あなたに何があったのかはわからない。でも多分あなたにそっくりな少女を私は知ってる。
The burned girl stopped moving entirely. I guess I gotten her attention.
悲しくて悲しくて、その子は命を奪われてからもお母さんのことが大好きで、誰にも許されなかった。苦しんで苦しんで、助けを求めるままに自分をなくして、呪いに溺れて。
My eyes began to overflow with tears. I loosened my grip slightly, and the burned girl began to stroke my cheek. Delicately, yet strangely.
あなたの憎しみと怒りは正しいわ。でも悲しみの連鎖は誰かが止めなきゃならない。かわいそうでもあなたにしかできない使命なの。
She continued to stroke my cheek, but then also raised her other hand to my eye, stuck out the finger and jammed it right into my eye socket. Pain shot through me in one incredible wave. From somewhere deep within my head, I could hear the sound of a foreign body digging around my muscle tissue. Her finger had directly cut the ophthalmic nerve. Between the intense agony and the deeply disturbed sound, I felt like I was on the verge of insanity.
きっとこれはこの子が感じた痛み。この痛みを共有できなければこの子を理解することなんてできない。私は逃げない。
That decided, I allowed my body to give in to the convulsion that had begun racking it. I was trying to not to consciously focus on the pain, instead focus on the girl. I felt as if I were mere moments from choking on my own tongue when the girl's finger finally dug my right eye out of its socket completely. Words could not describe the extreme pain. I cramped up completely and began shivering. The girl then put the sticky, bloody eyeball in my palm, displaying it triumphantly in view of the other eye for a moment before squeezing it with every ounce of strength she had. It still had some elastic to it. It expanded in her hand until its length had thoroughly doubled, but it could only take so much, eventually exploding into a milky white and red goo. Yet I still refused to show any signs of intimidation. I did not react. I waited until the girl's eye met mine, then flashed her a soft smile. She looked genuinely puzzled. And then she threw herself at me, and our lips met. What the heck?
Solitarius.
I hugged her once more, in spite of my trembling arms. A huge shockwave shook the air, transforming into a light and shattering around me.
嘘でしょ。
篠崎
I could hear Kishinuma, and the others yelling out in shock, having witnessed everything from the bottom of the stairs. Aiko was there too. When the light settled, I was standing on top of those mystic red stairs, which had now reformed and stretched down below me with the remnants of the heavenly host. I held my gored out right eye socket in the right hand and the Book of Shadows in my left. I slowly, solemnly descended those stairs of light.
篠崎お前無事だったのかいいんじゃ篠崎その目怪我したのか
大丈夫。あの子をここに戻すための優しい傷だよ。
The Book of Shadows in my hand had a white sheen to it now. I gave a weak smile and slowly formulated it in my mind, the exact words I wanted to say.
ごめんね。私のためにみんながひどい目にあって。どんなに謝ってもやっぱり許されることじゃないって分かってる。これ以上みんなを傷つけさせないよ。この涅槃から守るから。
何言ってるの？
どうしたんだよ篠崎急に変なこと言って。
大丈夫。心配しないで。今度こそちゃんと守るって決めたの。
おい篠崎
Kishinuma seemed especially perturbed by this resolution. He must have thought I was on the verge of sacrificing myself for the greater good or something. And rightly so. But the section of floor where I stood was up high for Kishinuma or any of the others to reach me. They couldn't stop me, not anymore.
篠崎
私だって篠崎の末裔。 したように、私もこの涅槃を飲み込んで封印する。
幸子のように、それってまさか。
I've been too embarrassed to look my friends in the eye while informing them of this, but knew I had to now. It was my last chance. I looked up at them, cheeks a little red.
お別れかな。
I giggled as painfully as I could.
いい加減にしろ。お前はもう十分傷ついたろ。もういいんだよ、篠崎。
Kishinuma was downright hysterical, but I still kept the same bright smile on my face. I wouldn't let go of it, no matter what.
でもね、いいこともあるの。よしえさんの記憶で見たんだけどね。天神症ができる前、幸子がこの涅槃を封印した時は、この涅槃に消された人の存在を取り戻せたの。
取り戻す。
篠原さんや鈴本さんたちみんなの思い出をこの世に取り戻せるかもしれない。
篠崎。
私は幸せだよ。ここでお別れになってもみんなの記憶にいるんだもの。それに比べて
篠崎。
今のままじゃ篠原さんや鈴本さん、森重くん、ゆい先生、それに涅槃に存在を消されたたくさんの人が悲しすぎる。
お前はそれでいいのかよ。人のことばっか考えてんじゃねえよ。
My facade had finally cracked. A single tear rolled down my cheek, then another, and another one. And with the impeccable timing, the Book of Shadows spoke, striking me while I was down.
残念だが、お前に救いは来ない。この邪術を行使するには、それなりの代償が必要だ。幸子ほどの霊力もないお前は、代わりにお前の存在を失うことになる。
んだと。
涅槃に触れる以上、存在に関しては障害反動を受けねばならない。誰の記憶にも残らない。思い出されもしない。これまでお前が生きた証はすべて消えるのだ。よく考えろ。
篠崎。なあ、冗談じゃねえぞ。お前の存在そのものが消えちまうなんて、そんなバカなこと。
岸沼くん。
For a split second, I let my true feelings show, but then immediately forced to smile again.
でもみんなの人生を取り戻せるのなら。
なんでだよ。お前全然分かってねえ。
やめるんだ篠崎。他に方法はないのか。
そうだよ委員長。私はもう誰にも死んでほしくないし消えてほしくない。お願いだからやめて。
邪術は常に対価を必要とする。でもそんな未来、私も納得できないわ。ありがとうみんな。でも誰かがやらなきゃいけないことなの。私やるわ。
涅槃の脅威は残しながらも見守ってゆく道もある。 いいのか。
問題を先送りして次の世代に不幸を回すなんてダメ。そうでしょ。
ふん。ならば付き合おう。だがただの人間のお前にこの膨れ上がった涅槃を取り込むことができるかな。
飲み込めばいいんでしょ。やってみせる。
I shoved a piece of flesh from the wall of Heavenly Host, fully prepared to illustrate at this point. Yum yum. Without thinking too hard about it, I was doing and ignoring every impulse in my body. I shoved the fetid meat in my mouth, chewed it, and gulped it down. My face warped in horror as I felt the morsel slide its way down my throat. I might as well have swallowed fire. This somehow triggered my back to pop and pop open slightly and began spurting blood. The bits of flesh I was able to stomach within quickly and rather ungracefully regurgitated onto the floor. I then picked up the flesh I'd spit out and tried to cram it back into my mouth. I was determined to keep it down. It would have been a lot easier if I hadn't been glaring, if they haven't been glaring at me from my hands, however. I turned to face Kishinuma, who was practically begging me not to go through with this. And it's not like I wanted to. I just had to. I smiled. The sentiment was truly heartwarming.
あなたはいつも私のこと見てくれてたね。気づいてたよ。あなたが私を忘れても私は忘れないからね、石沼くん。
Kishinuma's eyes swelled up with tears.
ポンポン、嬉しかった。
I smiled again, even while tears were streaming down my face. This time, after swallowing the whole meat, blood began spurting from my head. Yet finally, my actions seemed to be having an effect, as the wall in front of me began to fizzle away into a blood-red mist, ultimately vanishing before my eyes. Kishinuma collapsed onto his knees. Another shockwave rocked the whole of the dimension. It was so enormous that the ceiling fell, and the nearby wall began to crack. Whatever rickety parts of the school were left to begin crumbling around us.
大したものだ、篠崎あゆみ。逃げるわよ、巻き込まれる。立ちなさい。あの子を犬死にさせたいの。どのみちこの亀裂では止めに行くのは無理だろう。格好をつけさせてやる。あれが 幸子の血を引く後継者だ。
委員長。
忘れるものか。絶対。篠崎。ああ、さつきちゃんの方は目を覚まさないんだが。
だらだらしないでよ。涅槃ごとあの子に食われたいの？放ってくわよ。
よしき、行こう。
Before he left the area, Kishinuma looked back one last time. But I was out of sight by that point. We carefully but swiftly made our way through the rubble of the former bell tower. Along the way, Yoshiki paused for a moment and looked up the stairs and caught a glimpse of Mitsuto's clothes. So he died too, huh? It was only a moment's distraction, however. Yoshiki, like the rest of us, very quickly continued on his way.
Yuka! もう少しだ。頑張れ。
急ぎましょう。
Yoshiki got up to follow, but instead just stood there. He wouldn't take a single step.
どうしたの？岸沼。
Naomi, still on his back, saw Yoshiki's motionless form and knew something wasn't quite right.
あいつ人の記憶から消えるだけで済むのか？涅槃を食い尽くした後はどうなるんだ？普通の世界に戻れるのか？
He seemed to caught in a loop of doubt. He was trying to work through something in his head and didn't seem ready to move again until he'd succeeded.
ヨシキ、何してるんだ。早くしないと。
あいつが今いるのはその涅槃の中だぞ。
待て、ヨシキ。
He turned back towards the ruins of Heavenly Host and ran off.
お前ら出てろ。
And just like that, he was gone, fallen rubble blocking us off from the passageway he darted into.
嘘だろ。
ヨシキさん。
Try as we might, there is no pursuing him. He'd made his choice, and there was nothing we could do to change things now.
仕方ない。急ぐわよ。
The school began to shake even more violently.
ヨシキ、篠崎。
Not only was it shaking, but a creaking and a groaning as well. The school was definitely not going to stay intact for much longer at all. The red and black sky began to get sucked into a heavenly host, like smoke into an exhaust vent, with the beautiful, clear night scenery of the real world peeking out from behind it. And slowly the blue sky of the day crept into view, ousting both of the moon and the horrors of the Nirvana alike. The 6 pillars disappeared from the earth, leaving only giant craters in their wake. The rising sun shone upon the death-ridden world, serving as a beacon of light and hope for the people who survived beneath what would have been, and for a time was, an endless night.
この世のどこでもない場所で嘆きと闇の支配する大きな呪いの濁流は優しい少女の血と存在の犠牲によってせき止められた。死の運命は覆らない。取り戻した友達の生きた証は、それにより生まれる新たな悲しみで世界を満たし癒してゆく。
Seiko's live again, right? I actually like Seiko. Or Seiko. Seiko.
世代を超えて受け継がれてきた守護者のバトン。きっと彼女なら世界のどこかでまっすぐに守り続けてゆくだろう。私たちの記憶からも消え去ってしまった彼女にはもう言葉すら届けることはできないが、いくつかの世界と運命が融合したこの未来で、
ナオミ、ご飯できたよ。
はーい。
With a sigh of relief, Nakashima stood up and left her room. Next to the photo of her classmates, another photo stood on her desk, taken at Mashida's house.
きっとまた会える。力を守る者の矜持を胸に。
And there we go. Sounds like copyright music, so... And here I sat in my own house in Hino's room, in the corner, in a wheelchair, expressionless and empty. With the Book of Shadows on my lap, there was no fire in my eyes, no life. I just sat and stared at a single point in front of me.
ブックオブシャドウズ。私は使える。みんな幸せになってね。
The reflection staring back at the mirror wasn't me. It was Sachi, the girl in black. Sachi's eyes were covered in her bags. Her expression was impossible to read. She was unmoving, unbearable, untenable. Just a reflection of me.
みんな私が守るから。私頑張るから。
The Book of Shadows in my hand darted its eyes around frantically. Its tongue dangled limply outside the frame of the tome itself. The house sat in silence for a moment. And then the doorbell rang again. The reflection in the mirror was no longer Sachi. It was just a Yumi. Just me. The Book of Shadows reverted to showing itself once more as a plain, ordinary entirely standard leather-bound book. The blue-white stones were tossed up into the air, where they danced a bit before tumbling back down. I could easily catch them with one hand. I looked up in the White House in front of me and smiled a toothy grin. And I held onto those stones tightly, for they were my precious after stones, ever after stones.
やっと見つけたぜ。
That's Satoshi. I know. Yoshima, whatever, founder. Yokoshima, yes. Yokoshima found her. Cool. Well, that's the whole game, guys. We did all 10 chapters. That's what I'm talking about. So, time for review. Time for a review. Oh my goodness. Oh man, I'm done reading, dude. I'm done reading. I might actually decline reading games in the future, I'm just saying. This was like, I don't mind reading, but it's like, this game is... Let's just think about this chapter. This chapter was an hour and 17 minutes long. If I played 5 minutes in total, it's because it was glitched. Okay, that's the previous video. This one, yeah, I don't know, like, the question and answer stuff, the boss fight is just AIDS, dude. Like, I don't get that. They want you to understand the question and answers. Like, do you know how to read that? What does CMMR means, dude? Like, the answer is SMIRM. Smurm. Really? Okay. So yeah, this game is 99% reading and 1% play. So that's really unfortunate though. I think, in my opinion, if this game was English voice acted, I think this game would have a completely different feeling. Not too long ago, I actually did a game called Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, also sponsored by Kane, by the way. And I played the first like 3 episodes or 4 episodes, and then I was unhappy with something. I can't remember what it was. So I restarted the whole game and I made it, oh yeah, I figured out you can change the language. So I deleted the 4 parts and I started the game in English. And dude, the game felt, it's a complete different feeling. You understand what the people are saying, you understand the dialogue, the story comes through more. It was just a complete different experience. And I think the same thing would be with this game. I don't care if it's not the great voice actors, but like at least, you know, sitting back, relaxing, and actually getting the story read for you or the dialogue read for you, that's just the way to go. Now, I do understand that, you know, this company, for example, right? It's a indie game company. I don't care if there are 100 people. They made an indie game. This and the previous 2 games are 100% indie games. So let's just say they are an indie game. I'm pretty sure they can't afford, let's say, for example, a decent English reader for one of the characters that will read 7,000 pages to make this game accomplishable. So I'm not blaming them, right? They can only afford 1 voice actor per character, and they have to choose the country they live in because it's just easier. It's just how it is. So I'm not blaming them. Like, I do get this. If you have a game with 7,000 pages to read, yeah, I don't think you'll find anyone that's going to do it under $5,000. I'm just saying, like, it's crazy. And that's 1 character. So this game has 15 characters. So, you know, it makes sense when it comes down to this. So I do get why they don't have an English dialogue as well. But to be honest, dude, like, you're excluding so many people in the world by just having it 1 language, especially if it's Japanese. It's not even close to the most popular language in the world. At least I don't even think it's top 4. But yeah, I do get that, man. Like, you know, that's just my opinion. So yeah, if you guys want me to rate this game, I give it a solid 6 out of 10. There's glitches in the game that you have to change your hertz of your screen to be able to play the game. There's a lot of tedious parts in this game. Like, honestly, it's not like it's muscle memory or something. Like, it's just tedious. For example, before you go to the final boss, you have to do this stupid maze where there's 7 of these guys that swing their axe at you. And you have to move them out of the way to get to where you have to go. So it's not like, oh, you made a mistake, you get punished for it. No, you get punished for it and then you try and fix it. So if you compare this to a game like, let's say, for example, Sekiro, you get punished for every mistake you make. This game punishes you for not doing anything wrong. That's how it felt like. There's a lot of traps in this game. A lot of them is like almost impossible to see. Yeah, I think a solid 6 out of 10. I would actually give it less, but I actually enjoyed the... How do I say? The characters of this game. Particularly this game. It feels like it's a PS1 era characters. I think it's a very well designed. It looks like small stick figures you can buy at a store. It's pretty nice, you know? The characters was cute. The character development was great also. The story behind this game was great also. But it's only those things that were good. Like, everything else is not up to par, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this game, to be honest. I just think that the quote-unquote combat system of this game is horrendous. I don't think this game has what it takes in that era. The puzzles was okay until the final boss. Then I just hated the game. Some of the quick time events, I wouldn't even call it quick time events. Like, you don't have a time to read your answers even. Like, oh, there's 3 options. You read the second one and then the time is up. Well, oopsie. Now you're dead. So there's a lot of like tedious parts in this game, in my opinion. So just let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the series. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.